ghouls, and ghosts, and evil, and... wait. What month is it? Well, shoot. It seems that the most evil thing of all is Father Time.
Shazam!
Luckily, evil doesn't follow a schedule. A bad example. This list will include villains from TV, movies, and video games. Also, if you're worried about spoilers, I put timestamps in the description in case a certain segment is too spoilery for you. And without further ado, it's showtime!
Then it sounds to me like it's time to rumble.
Indeed, but it is you who will take the tumble.
I'm sorry, hon, but did you just sing that?
Of course I did not. Wait, yes I did. I'm sounding shrill against my will and cannot stop this singing. And in my ears I swear I hear a quite distinctive ringing. This silly game is very lame and someone's going to pay.
An unknown force, but where's the source that has us in its way?
Who is doing this to us? And on this we must conquer
The dastardly, despicable, disturbingly inexplicable, and imminently kickable. That's everybody rat is.
In a world that's said to be as dangerous and full of adventure as the land of Ooh in Adventure Time, you'd expect there to be quite the number of great villains, but you'd be wrong. Most villains in Adventure Time are either A, of no significance, only appearing in a single episode or so, B, vastly misunderstood to the point that they could hardly be called villains, like the Ice King, or C, just straight up one-dimensional bad guys like the Lich and Golb. I don't care if your head is a cube, you are not interesting! Then we get to Stakes, the first Adventure Time miniseries, and home to the first contender on our list. When Stakes came out, we were introduced to a large batch of new villains for the series. And being the king of the vampires, you'd expect the VK to be the most evil and literally bloodthirsty of the bunch, but no. The Vampire King shows himself to be more human and realistic than one would expect. The way the king keeps it real is just rich. I love it when he calls out his minions and other characters for their BS.
This is our chance to go back to our old ways. Surely diverging from the old ways is what made us vulnerable the first time. Surely...
Surely? Surely? Surely, J. Temple! I am your king, and I say it's a new era. Old-fashioned ideas have no place here.
Where are the comforts of the old hive? The minions, the blood, the good blood with the gold leaf flaked into it.
The gold leaf was stupid. It didn't taste like anything.
Sucker!
Whoa, I just want to talk. I think I want to... Let me finish my thought.
Stick you!
Okay, go ahead.
Earlier, we mentioned that Adventure Time didn't have the best villains, but its characterization is spot on. With some exceptions, every character, even the villains, are relatable in some way and thus more believable as a result. Take the Vampire King for instance. He finds himself doing the typical evil vampire shtick and then he dies. Now he comes back, a second chance and a new outlook. His thoughts are, perhaps a new way is in order. And so, during Stakes, he actually does very little to antagonize our heroes other than exist. And once confronted, he even willingly surrenders and has his vamp juice sucked out.
Kitty!
It's a more nuanced approach to a villain realizing their actions were wrong, or at least not ideal. Even if it did end in a giant monster battle that kinda, sorta, ended in Deus Ex Machina. Okay, Stakes isn't perfect. The VK also has a really cool design that I don't entirely understand. He's like a lion? With dragon claws and bird feet? Wearing a suit? Well, a lot of great villains are slightly silly anyway, so why not?
And imminently kickable. That's everybody rat is.
When it comes to animated superhero shows that aren't based on comic books, pickings can be quite slim. There's like, what, Samurai Jack, the Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, the Powerpuff Girls, oh yeah, and Danny Phantom. Who doesn't like Butch No Hartman's Ghostbusters Spider-Man crossover? And like any good superhero show, one of the most memorable aspects is, as you may have already guessed, the huge rogues gallery of villains to choose from. So with such great selections like Walker, a ghost prison warden, Freak Show, a creepy carny, and
I am the box ghost! I have power over all containers, cardboard, and square!
I, of course, had to go with the techno wizard who just can't shut up about himself.
Child! You have freed me! Technus! Ghost Master of Science and Electrical Technology!
Ever had a virus before? Ever had your computer literally float away and attach itself to a giant tech golem? I hate it when that happens.
You're not going to use the technology in this lab to take over the world!
What? That's a great idea!
Scratch that. I love it when that happens. It gives us an excuse to watch Doc Green on screen. As far as Danny Phantom goes, Technus is probably one of the hammiest villains in the entire series. And that's saying something considering the competition. Of course, when technology is involved, lots of possibilities open up for scheming, like building a new high-tech battle body, or spreading yourself through the internet. Or how about an idea that Ultron didn't steal, the douche, like stoking a romantic relationship between Danny and the Green Goblin. I mean the Red Goblin. I mean Valerie. Did I spoil it? And the way he tricks Tucker into helping him access the World Wide Web in Teacher of the Year shows some decent cunning, even if he does mess it all up later.
Then I, Technus, shall use my ghost powers and newfound gaming prowess to win the game and spread my intellect to every machine in the world! My, that was a long speech.
What? Technus?
Technus has a wide array of powers, including manipulation of electronic devices, conjuring technology, firing electrical blasts, intangibility, but like, all the ghosts can do that, and announcing his name for all to hear.
I am Technus, manipulator of machines, lord of all gadgetry, wizard of integrated circuitry. Once again, I, Technus, master of all things electronic and beeping. I, Technus, am totally frying your bacon. I, Technus, am getting tired of getting beaten by you. I, the new improved Technus, have reached the next level. I am Technus, master of technology and destroyer of worlds. Then I, the new improved Technus, shall be the hip, modern ruler of the world! In this new body, they shall never know it's me! Technus! Now listen here! Young whippersnapper, I, Technus, am hip and...
At first, it would make no sense for someone to yell their name out so much. That is, until you realize that the name of his voice actor is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson. That name is Robert Paulson. His name is Robert Paulson. His name is Technus, master of all things mechanical. Needless to say, Technus has a voice that I can never forget. And a name that I can't forget either. It's basically drilled in my favorite skill at this point. And isn't that the true meaning of Christmas? We are what we consume, after all.
And imminently kick a ball. Let's get him off and raptive.
Some would say zombies don't make good villains, but I disagree. The brain-dead undead shambling toward your door unmasked with the threat of infection and carnage is sure to instill terror unto our poor, unsuspecting, scrumptious brains. At least, according to this guy. Vampires? Ghosts? Zombies? This is a Halloween list. All outbreaks start with at least one mad scientist, so why not Dr. Edgar George Zomboss, the main villain of the Plants vs. Zombies series, and the main reason the zombies are so interested in your house specifically. He attacks your front yard, your backyard, your roof, he follows you through time, he's basically obsessed with us. Probably because we're so smart. And when he's not sending endless hordes of zombies to your house, he decides to man up and face us himself in one of his patented Zombots TM. These mechs range from a shark, a dragon, a dinosaur, a rock band, okay, and his most famous design, modeled after the Gargantuar zombie, the original Zombot TM. This thing can summon zombies, create huge balls of fire and ice, drop fans on your plants, and then amidst the chaos, you realize that you might have the strongest roof in existence. You see, when someone throws a van at your roof in the real world, it tends to murder the whole house. Despite the oddities, the villainy of Dr. Zomboss is part of the charm of Plants vs. Zombies, and it'd be hard to imagine the series without him. Just cook up some brain dogs, ignore the irony of your own appearance. We've got a memorable and iconic villain on our hands, ladies and gentlemen.
And imminently kickable. Let's get him out and active.
Ah, the Master Manipulator. The unpredictable one. The one that's always outsmarting our favorite heroes and keeping them on their toes. Presenting themselves as always one step ahead through their simultaneously intelligent and dastardly plots. Especially when there's dragons involved. So when I found out about Dragon's Race to the Edge, I was like, oh, okay, seems good. Has the character designs of How to Train Your Dragon 2 and the charm of the previous series, writers of Burke. Then the Season 2 finale comes around and the bar just got set a little higher.
They say there are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true, the other is to refuse to believe what is. Maces and talents.
The introduction of Vigo Grimborn is the point when the series moves on from being "Leave the dragons alone" to a more tactical conflict and a game of strategy. No, really, Vigo views everything like one huge game, and all the people are just pieces to be exploited. Now, I'm no chess wizard, but the way I understand it is, in chess, normally the way you want to play is to organize your pieces as to get your opponent to do something that will give you an advantage. Like putting a piece out to bait their queen into taking it so you can, in turn, take their queen. It's impressive how thoroughly Vigo's plans get to Hiccup, the main character. Vigo makes him paranoid, obsessed, and angry because he outwits Hiccup at every turn. I also like how his name isn't a stupid punt! The mind games Vigo plays with Hiccup and the strategic moves he makes to get under his skin make him the most cunning villain of the whole series. My favorite villainous moment of his is in the episode Last Auction Heroes, where Hiccup and the Dragon Riders are trying to infiltrate a dragon auction that Vigo is holding, so they can free all the dragons he's caught and is currently trying to sell. In the process, Hiccup has to send in Gobber and Snotlout undercover with all of Burke's gold, which, if lost, could bankrupt the whole village. But then, Vigo catches on to Snotlout, locks up all the Dragon Riders, and catches their dragons. They get free, of course, but Vigo still has the gold. So Hiccup goes after him to get it, and when he gets there, Vigo freaking throws the chest into the ocean right in front of him. Hiccup swims down and risks drowning just to save Burke's gold. And then, when he does, it turns out that the chest was filled with rocks. Rocks! Vigo still has the gold, and while Hiccup almost died trying to save the dummy chest, he got away. Vigo just traded his knight for Hiccup's queen. That's brutal, man.
And imminently kickable. Let's get him out and active.
When watching a typical good versus evil story, you usually know who you want to win right away. The protagonist is the hero, the good guy, trying to stop whatever calamity the antagonist, the bad guy, is stirring up. But here's where the definition of what a villain truly is becomes important. That definition being a person who does bad things. Bad things like, say, murder. A lot of murder. All the time. And yet, he's the protagonist. Death Note is so amazing that it deserves its own video, but one of its strongest elements is just how much it makes you root for Light Yagami, the genius high school student who discovers a magic notebook that can kill someone if you simply write their name in it. And upon realizing this, Light, who's still the protagonist by the way, goes into full genocidal maniac mode under the name Kira, which is Japanese for killer by the way. Meanwhile, the Japanese police and the greatest detective in the world, known as L, try to find out who Kira is. In almost every aspect of this situation, Light is at a disadvantage, and could easily get caught if only he didn't take the Master Manipulator trope to a whole new level. You thought a true Master Manipulator only kept people on their toes? Light has his enemies doing frickin' ballet! No time is wasted when showing off Light's brilliance in his quest for the perfect world, of which he perceives himself to be the god. He formulates these impressively complicated plans that both creatively abuse and work around the Death Note's rules to achieve astonishing results. Here's a few notable examples. Light suspects someone is following him, so he uses the Death Note to stage a busjacking in order to get the stalker's name.
FBI? I see. His name is Ray Penber.
Light figures out that there are cameras and wiretaps placed in his room, so he hides a mini TV in a bag of chips so he can still kill criminals being broadcast on the news while appearing to just be doing schoolwork to the cameras.
Just watch me, Al. I'll solve equations with my right hand and write names with my left. I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
And most impressively, Light hides a piece of the Death Note and a small pin in his watch so he can use it to kill his stand-in for Kira later in the series.
Just as I expected, I'm wearing this watch. Old habits die hard.
Light is an enjoyable villain just to see his creative and well-developed schemes in action. They're so well thought out that it really makes you want Light to win. And this ends up being so effective that when he lost in the end, it actually felt unsatisfying. That is, until you realize that you were rooting for a murderer intent on committing mass genocide, meanwhile killing innocent people along the way.
This world is rotting, and those who are making it rot deserve to die. Someone has to do it, so why not me? Even if it means sacrificing my own mind and soul, it's worth it. Because the world can't go on like this.
Death Note is a great example of the villain is the hero of their own story.
And imminently kick them all. Let's get it off and active.
Speaking of the villain is the hero of their own story, here's another villain who intends to commit large-scale genocide. Okay, this movie is a pretty big deal, so if you don't want spoilers, leave now. Though, I doubt you care since spoilers for Infinity War have become a meme at this point. Also, some of this might not make sense if you haven't seen the movie or understand the MCU. There's your warning, 3, 2, 1. He killed half the universe! Holy crap, he actually won! And all he did was snap his fingers. Okay, let's step back a bit. I've been watching a bunch of Marvel movies recently, and I've come to realize that most villains in the MCU are kinda bland? Ultron was all like, no dude, I'm not gonna kill you all, stop tripping. Loki was Loki, and the rest of the villains I can hardly remember. Though it was immensely refreshing when Infinity War came out and Thanos ended up being an actually relatable character instead of, I'm an evil dude, come stop me bro. Thanos is not the typical Marvel villain, I guess is what I'm trying to say. He has a goal, but he's not bloodthirsty about it. When he's fighting Iron Man and Doctor Strange bargains the Time Stone in exchange that he spare Tony's life, he actually allows Stark to live, even after the deadliest combination of finger movements in the universe takes place. When he's trying to get the Soul Stone, which is only possible by killing Gamora by the way, before sacrificing her, he sheds a tear. The big bad of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe is weeping. This moment really shows the man beneath the monster. Thanos is not interested in domination, or war, or power, but rather desires peace, even if it is in his own murdery way. So, it would appear to be a classic case of, the ends justify the means. As Thanos would likely say, if a trillion have to die for the sake of the other trillion, then so be it. And then there's that scene.
Steve?
This is an unforgettable moment. There's no music, capturing the feeling of utter disbelief at what just happened. Thanos' victory is the most unexpected twist of the entire MCU. Tons of villains in this universe always say they're going to do the most horrible thing, but little actually succeed. And seeing Thanos actually successfully enact his plan to wipe out half of all life, and seeing our favorite heroes disappear right in front of us, is an eye-opening moment that truly proved what was at stake throughout the whole movie. Getting to know his motivation helped to humanize Thanos. It helped him feel more like a real person, but that's actually what makes him and his actions even more frightening.
And imminently kickable. Let's get him out and active.
Do you want to know what pure evil is? When you imagine what pure evil looks like, you'd imagine it to be like a hellish, Lovecraftian monster that cannot be stopped or reasoned with. But, my friends, I have seen true evil, and it is an old Japanese man with a dumb nose. There's something wrong with Hyodo. This man is straight up sadistic. You thought crippling financial debt was bad already? You haven't seen anything yet. Any poor soul who finds himself indebted to this loan shark may find that their very lives are on the line. Hyodo's idea of someone paying off their debt is about as accurate as Jigsaw saying that he wants to play a game. And the games he sets up aren't meant to help debtors get out of debt, it's meant to push them deeper into debt and serve as entertainment for him. The more people in debt, the more there is to watch, right? Watch what, you may ask? Well, remember what Garth said?
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Because in Hyodo's case, the things he makes people do for money consist entirely of terror and anguish. No joke, the guy legit seems to have a fetish for causing pain. It's disturbing. He steps into a punch bowl, barefoot, for no other reason than so he can make people drink from it. When Kaiji loses a game to him, putting him in even further debt, Hyodo finds that the best course of action to appease this debt is to cut off his freaking fingers. Ouch. He makes several debtors walk across steel beams, knowing full well that any of them could fall to their death at any point. Oh yeah, and making it to the end triggers a death trap. Despicable. I've never before seen a villain that was so adamant about causing suffering, and what makes it feel so real is that he's totally crazy, but not crazy enough to seem farcical. He's not a mindless killer or anything, but the way he breaks his debtors, both physically and psychologically, it adds a whole new meaning to the term human monster. His nose looks really funny. It looks like a peanut.
He had a head shaped like a peanut. It was full-blown peanut. It was not like a freaking, it was like a freaking peanut-shaped head. I didn't want to say anything because I feared of getting beaten up. I mean, this guy was a mutant. Okay.
And imminently kickable. Let's get him out and active.
Playing in the rain is so fun. Nothing could ever go wrong. Oh shit. When it comes to horror movies, there are very few that left a lasting impact on me like Stephen King's It did. To be truly terrifying, a horror movie needs enough tension to make an audience member uncomfortable and frightened during the film, but also have enough food for thought to make the terror come home with them. Pennywise is the beast that makes It truly scary. Not the jump scares, not the special effects, but just the idea of a being that can apparently shapeshift, teleport, knows your worst fears, and will go out of its way to torture you. The night I saw it, I didn't get any sleep until the sun came up. I was thoroughly shook, and I'm not even sure why. I know clowns aren't real, so why was a clown keeping me up at night? Perhaps it's just the thought that Pennywise could be anywhere. It could be inside your town, your house, your room, and your mind, and you would be none the wiser, feeding on you in more ways than one. And that voice.
Oh, well, I'm Pennywise the dancing clown. Pennywise? Yes, meet Georgie. Georgie, meet Pennywise. Now we aren't strangers, are we?
I think what makes Pennywise such an effective villain and boogeyman is that we know enough about it to be scary, but we don't know enough about it to write off its existence. Since 4th grade, I was similarly terrified of the Slender Man. I kept watching video after video about the thing until one day, I knew enough about it that it just wasn't scary anymore. Because apparently when Slender Man is near, it causes a nauseous sickness, so I figured out that if I wasn't feeling sick, then the Slender Man wasn't around. Pennywise has no such restrictions. It could easily be hiding in either the background or in plain sight, just waiting to exact a precious fear feast upon you. Its design is also fantastically horrific. It wears this frilly, grayed-out, dirty outfit that's offset by these out-of-place bright red puffballs, likely symbolizing the red balloons that randomly appear and signify that it is near. Its face is also a strange shape, with a huge forehead and makeup that feels uncanny. And that smile is the creepiest thing. I didn't think it was possible to make something look more intimidating by adding a smile, but I guess when it comes to Pennywise the Dancing Clown, nothing is impossible.
And imminently kick a ball. Let's get him out and
I find that Super Paper Mario is criminally underrated, often being referred to as the beginning of the fall of Paper Mario. And as such, a lot less people are aware of it and its truly tragic villain. When Count Bleck appears for the first time, it seems like the normal villain fanfare: stop the villain, save the world, the end. But as the game continues, the true nature of Bleck is steadily revealed. After each chapter, we witness dialogue that details Bleck's backstory, how he fell in love, how he lost the person he cared most about, how he used to be a normal person that was then changed forever by an unending nihilism. He then seeks out the Chaos Heart, symbolic of himself, how all he wanted was love, but now feels so empty that the only thing that can make him content is to destroy every last thing in existence. If I feel like nothing, then everything else should feel like nothing. The effects of this outlook really show during the game. In the background, the void is ever present, looming over everything, steadily getting bigger and bigger as the game progresses and the end of the world draws near. He says that when he destroys everything, he'll make a new world that's even better, a lie, symbolizing how he views a better world as no world at all. And lastly, when we travel to the eloquent and lively Sammer Kingdom, we get to see the destructive power of the void firsthand, as it destroys everything and everyone, leaving nothing behind. Not even a single person. And when we make it to Count Bleck's castle and beat him, he does not try to run away, or continue to fight back. He simply lies on the floor and asks that you finish him off. He's lost all hope. The only way to stop the void is to destroy the Chaos Heart, and the only way to destroy the Chaos Heart is to kill the Count, according to him. As Bleck lies on the floor, accepting his fate, Timpani, his lost love, asks if this is really how it must end. Except, it wasn't the end yet. was the ultimate trick. The fools fooled us. He played us all like a game of cards. Dimentio... Okay. Putting two vowels next to each other in a name just always spells trouble. Just stop. Stop doing it. Reveals himself to be the true antagonist of the game by taking the Chaos Heart from the weakened Count Black after Mario in the game thrashed him. Dimentio must be a big fan of the Fortnite hide-in-a-bush strategy. Dimentio is someone that always keeps you guessing. If Black was darkness and Timpani was light, then Dimentio is the embodiment of chaos, a fusion of the two opposites, thus creating an eternal conflict. His chaotic nature is shown in every aspect of his being. Throughout the game, Dimentio does things that can be considered to either help or hamper our quest. His outfit consists of yellow and purple, which are complementary colors, while his hands, legs, and face are black and white, which are contrasting shades. He talks with a playful glee while at the same time admitting that he's going to murder everyone. He takes Bleck's plan of destroying everything to the next level by saying that he'll make a new world in its place, a grand creation after a great destruction. When he seizes the Chaos Heart, he creates a new form made from the Chaos Heart, himself, and Luigi? It seems so odd, but is so disturbing at the same time because it's Luigi fused with his horrible evil. Whenever he's defeated in battle, it never feels genuine, like he always has another trick up his sleeve, that true victory is impossible. And when Super Dimentio is defeated, he reveals that everything will still be destroyed anyway, out of spite. Thanos has got nothing on this guy. Wait, what's he doing? Before we get to number 1, I thought I'd share some honorable mentions because there's just a lot more evil in the world. Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls. Bill is the kind of villain a show like Gravity Falls deserves. He's always messing with the characters in crazy, insane ways that are both creepy and comical, fitting the show's tone perfectly. Stuff like pulling weirdness out of thin air, and animals, or rearranging somebody's face holes. Tamatoa from Moana. Tamatoa is one of the only Disney villains in recent years that, surprise surprise, wasn't a twist villain. Finally, we get to actually enjoy the villain for their character and not their purpose in the story. Tamatoa is like this narcissistic kaiju who hoards treasure, tropical dragon style. While not the main villain of the movie, he was definitely the most enjoyable part of it. The song is pretty awesome too.
You try to be tough, but your armor's just not hard enough. Oh, yeah.
Team Skull from Pokemon Sun and Moon. Team Skull are without a doubt my favorite villainous team from the Pokemon series. Branding aside, these guys are just hilarious. They're a breath of fresh air since most of the other teams are rather dull. Oh, you want to destroy the world or something? Cool. Now where do I sign up for this gang? Ultron. Ultron sucks. Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. My second favorite villain from the MCU behind Thanos. One of the many things that Guardians 2 improved upon from the previous movie was the villain. Ego is a much more compelling villain and personal obstacle for Quill in the Guardians than Ronan, the big scary evil dude, ever was. I love the homage to Star Wars as well, with Ego being an evil dad. But enough honorable mentions, let's get to the showstopper.
Who is doing this to us? And on this we must concur.
The dastardly, despicable, disturbingly inexplicable,
and imminently kickable.
That guilty bottom rat is
the Music Meister!
Ask yourself, what makes a villain so memorable and likable despite them being the bad guy? Is it their detestability? Their achievements? Their philosophies? No, it's their characters. Remember earlier when I said that the Lich wasn't on the list because he was just so boring? The problem was that he had no character outside of being evil. Every character in a story needs a personality, whether they be hero or villain, which is why my favorite villains tend to be the best parts of their respective shows, movies, games, or books. And there's no villain out there that's better at making me want to come back to a show again and again than the Music Meister from Batman, the Brave and the Bold.
Oh, I'm the Music Meister.
He's the Music Meister.
And everyone just fawns.
He's the Music Meister. And we are all his pawns.
The Music Meister is such a silly villain, but that's what makes him so enjoyable. They go full on with the campiness and the music motifs here. The Music Meister literally just sings in order to control people, and the way he controls them is very stage show-esque. He wears these cool 8th note glasses throughout the episode and has these huge speakers on his shoulders in the climax. He escapes on a bike shaped like music notes that splits into 2 segways that disobey the laws of physics. And at one point, he and Batman are on the bikes bouncing between electrical wires, reminiscent of notes on music sheets. He's always changing into these really cool outfits which reference music genres and also keep his color scheme of orange, green, purple, and white to keep the look distinct. I'm a huge fan of his first suit. Where can I get a hat like that? I want to know. Last time I tried to buy a top hat, it was $300 and I had to settle for this fez instead.
Gears grinding, ropes binding, coils winding for a super sap. Death trap.
The musical numbers in his episode Mayhem of the Music Meister are awesome. I love every one of them except If Only, cause I'm not too into slower paced duets. But the other songs, I Am the Music Meister, Drives Us Bats, and Death Trap, which you're listening to right now, are all fantastic. I love the steady build-up and eventual payoff of the Music Meister's reveal in I Am the Music Meister. I love all the Batman references and epic roasts in Drives Us Bats. And Death Trap has some great rhyme schemes. But all these songs are just building to the biggest number. The World Is Mine.
Well, I guess that's my cue. The Music Meister sings the song that the world wants to hear. Let's not fight, let's get along for your hypnotic profiteer. The Music Meister is the man that the world shall obey. So do your job, steal all you can while you're under my sway.
Having a crazy villain was one thing, but setting it to some music just adds to the craziness of it all. By having the M Meister's songs mind control the people into doing his bidding, pretty much anything can happen, like making his pawns dance, having his face marked on the earth, writing his name in the buildings. And while all of this is going on, I bet deaf people must have been so frickin' confused. They look outside and see people dancing in the street while holding a bunch of flute, and it would probably seem like the most bizarre thing. Neil Patrick Harris's performance as the Music Meister is just fantastic. I'm totally buying that this guy is super into music and also villainy. Just look at this ham! Speaking of ham, old Double M probably says his own name more than Technus. Just as the tune of a great song can linger in your head for days, the Music Meister is one that won't be forgotten about anytime soon.
Music Meister sings a song that the world wants to hear. Let's not fight, let's chill along for our hypnotic idea. The Music Meister is the man that the world shall obey. So do your job, steal all you can, while you're under his sway.
Wow, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, because if you didn't, then I just spent hours and hours of my life on a project that likely wasn't even worth it in the end, when I could have been doing something more productive instead. Life is fun.
He's got no superpowers, he's just a flying rat. It's a good thing we got Arkham, cause he really drives us bats. Drives us bats, world's greatest detective. Drives us bats,
foiling every evil scheme.
He really drives us bats, bats, bats. He drives us bats.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.
drives us back.